Hey, everybody. We're going to talk about Act 5, Scene 2, but I've split this video up into two parts because Scene 2 of Act 5 is the conclusion of this entire play, and it's kind of lengthy and there's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to break this up into two videos to avoid having a crazy long video. So, anyway, here we go. So, Scene 2 starts out everybody's back at the castle and um, Hamlet is alone with his best friend Horatio, and he tells Horatio what happened with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. So before um, the whole pirate thing, Hamlet discovered that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern had a letter sealed from Claudius, and it was written to the King of England. And the letter essentially said, "Dear King of England, you owe me a favor, kill Hamlet immediately." So Hamlet takes this letter, copies the handwriting, writes a new letter that says, "Dear King of England, you owe me a favor, kill Rosencrantz and Guildenstern immediately, signed Claudius." And then pulls out an identical ring to Claudius's from his pocket. It's the royal insignia ring. Everybody that's in Hamlet's bloodline has a similar ring. So Hamlet pulls out his, and he uses that to reseal the forged letter. And then he destroys the old letter, and he puts the forged letter in the hiding spot that the original letter was in. So when Rosencrantz and Guildenstern get to England, Hamlet's already been taken by the pirates. Rosencrantz Guildenstern, they hand the letter to the king, who reads the letter, looks them up and down like, "Okay, arrest these two." And they're like, "Wait, what?" And before they can even really mount any sort of protest, they're executed. So when Hamlet tells Horatio this story, Horatio is disgusted. Uh, Basically, Hamlet has just admitted to orchestrating the murder of two of his childhood friends, and Horatio is disgusted by this, as anyone would be. Uh, And Hamlet's like, "Well, they shouldn't have been meddling in my business." And while he does have a point that they shouldn't have been meddling in his business, does that really justify murdering them? Um, it's pretty dark. And Horatio, I think, for the first time, is really starting to wonder if what they're doing is right, if what they're doing is just or righteous. Those of you that are doing the prompt about what kind of king would Hamlet be, look at this scene in particular. Is Hamlet delving too far down the rabbit hole? What kind of king would he be at this point? Is it too late for redemption for him? I don't know. So, um, anyway, and then ask yourself, do you think, even though Rosencrantz and Guildenstern were working with the king and queen, they had no idea that they were marshaling Hamlet to his death? They didn't know what that letter said. It was sealed when they got it. Um, And yeah, they were acting as sponges, but does that really justify their death? Did they deserve to die? So, um, anyway, so Hamlet brushes off their death and is like, "They shouldn't have been meddling in my business." Uh, but he does say, "There is something I am sorry about. And I'm sorry that I have offended. I'm sorry that Ophelia got wrapped up on all of this. I'm sorry that Ophelia's dead. I'm sorry that Laertes had to bury his sister. I'm sorry that Laertes had to bury his father. I'm sorry that I attacked Laertes. I'm sorry that Laertes attacked me. I'm sorry that I made a mess of the funeral." So he is lamenting what he's done to Laertes. Okay, so as he's talking about this, there's a courtier that's come in. His name is Osric, and this is the only part of the play where Osric has a role. He's a very well dressed, a dandy, if you will. Basically, he's a very well dressed man who prefers his fancy clothes and his fancy lifestyle and thinks very highly of himself. Well, he comes in and he starts talking to Hamlet and Horatio, and Hamlet just mocks him, just makes fun of him, and Horatio's laughing and Hamlet's laughing, and Osric doesn't really get it, but he does say he has a message for Hamlet, and so Hamlet's like, what's the message?" And the message is that Laertes is challenging Hamlet to a quote unquote friendly duel. Okay. Uh, Osric also lets it be known that, uh, or Osric, or there's another messenger that comes in. I forget which one says the following, but doesn't really matter. The point is that news gets to Hamlet that there's been a wager placed on who's going to win this duel. On the one hand, there are people that are betting on Laertes to win because he's an excellent sword fighter. Hamlet asks, "What's the weapon of choice that Laertes is challenging me with?" And he's told that it's two weapons: rapiers and daggers, and that's what they're going to use. Those are Laertes' specialty. That's what he's best at. And Claudius, now interestingly enough, even though some people are betting on Laertes to win, Claudius is making a pretty hefty bet that Hamlet will win, which is interesting because Claudius is the one who came up with this whole idea of the duel in the first place, to get Hamlet to die. So why would he bet on Hamlet to win? Well, the answer to that is pretty easy. He's trying to make it look like he had no part of this. By betting on his stepson to win, he makes himself look innocent of any doings of this plot to kill Hamlet. So if Hamlet were to die in this duel, Claudius would be like, thought he was going to win. That's why I bet on him. So, plausible deniability, basically. So Hamlet says, seems kind of fishy, but sure. Tell Laertes I'm game. Tell him that whenever he's ready, I'm ready, and we'll do this whenever. So Osric bows and he leaves. Horatio tells Hamlet, now remember, I mentioned earlier that when Horatio speaks, it's to do one of two things: either to give background information, or to give foreshadowing. And Horatio's like, "I don't like this. I smell a rat." And Hamlet's like, there's no way that this is genuine. There's no way that there isn't some sort of trap here. And Horatio's like, "Dude, if I smell a trap and you smell a trap, then cancel the duel. Tell them you're not feeling well. Tell them that you need more time to practice. Tell them that you want a different kind of duel. Whatever. Let's buy some time so that we can get to the bottom of how they're planning on sabotaging this duel so that we can upset their plans." And Hamlet, for the first time, says, "No, I've been playing this game long enough. I'm tired. I'm tired of this game. I just want this to be done. I want Claudius dead. I want whatever happens to happen. And I just want it to be over, man. I'm just so tired." And he says one of my favorite lines in this entire play. In fact, it is my favorite line in this entire play. It's probably my favorite line in all of Shakespeare. And I'm going to paraphrase. Basically, he says, "If it be not now, it'll come. And if it isn't to come, it'll be now. The readiness is all." What does he mean by that? Basically, it's the whole concept of fate versus free will, those of you that are doing that prompt. He's basically saying, if I'm destined to die at this duel, then there's nothing that I can do. Postponing it isn't going to change my fate. Getting to the bottom of it isn't going to change my fate. I'm going to die at this duel or not, as the fates allow it. The only thing I can do, I can't stop death. The only thing I can do is prepare myself mentally, physically, and spiritually for it. The readiness is all. All I can do is be ready for it when it comes. So if I live at this duel, great. If I die at this duel, then it was my time to go. And he takes a very fatalistic approach to this. He just kind of shrugs his shoulders. He's like, well, if it's my time to go, it's my time to go. Whatever, man. So that is the first part of scene 2. And then on the second video, I will talk about the duel itself and the ending of this play.